want to give a disclaimer because younger me didn't believe he was going to live to be 21. So I grew up in a small town about an hour from Ottawa, around, I would say, maybe 16 years old, starting to get involved in things I probably shouldn't have. Dealing with some mental health that I didn't realize I was struggling with. Unfortunately, led to some substance issues when I was younger. And throughout it all, I just kept saying, you know what, no matter what I have to deal with, my one goal is I got to graduate high school. So, regardless of what I was doing to myself when I was younger, I just kept going with schooling. At about 18, actually, my 18th birthday was the day that I stopped using, we'll say, hard substances. So when I started using more and more, I would stay away from home more and more. And that was just an issue where, I would have conflict with my family. And so I would spend more time sleeping on friends' couches, things like that. And at one point I was maybe going home 2 or 3 times a week. And that was because I knew if I go home, I'm going to get screamed at, we might get into a fight. And, for my dad, he was working all the time. I didn't want to put him through that. And my mom was trying to raise my younger sister, who is about 10 years younger than me. So I didn't want to put my younger sister through that, as well as my mother. So I entered a treatment facility for about a month and a half, graduated at the end of June. 3 days later, I had a garbage bag and a backpack and maybe a couple other things. And I had a cousin who picked me up, drove me to Ottawa, and I stayed with him for a while. I wound up in a sort of transitional housing with a different organization, Young Men's Emergency Shelter. Probably spent about 2 months in the shelter. Would have been when I eventually wound up in the long-term house. I was still dealing with mental health issues. By this point in time, I had come to understand it a little better. I'd actually gotten a diagnosis, and things like not having to worry about, hey, am I going to be able to afford rent at the end of the month, was definitely a big load off my shoulders. That it's a place of comfort, right? On top of that, knowing, no matter where I go, no matter what time I go, I can still go somewhere that I can call home. So having that solid base, which is what that long-term housing gave me, with that, now I can move on to the next step. I can start worrying about developing more, deeper friendships and relationships. I can start looking towards not what's going to happen in 6 hours or what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen next week, what's going to happen next month, next year. My trajectory is I'm not going back to where I was. I'm here to ask you to help other young people by participating in the coldest night of the year virtual walk on February 26th. Your support will help ensure youth in Ottawa have a safe place to call home. Let's end youth homelessness and prevent adult homelessness, one step at a time. Register and donate today for the coldest night of the year at cnoy.org and select the Ottawa Centertown location. Again, thank you for everything you can help with.